Recently, I've been seeing memes online about how Leo was a better movie than Wish, and that got me thinking, how is an Adam Sandler movie about him playing a lizard better than a movie celebrating Disney's 100th anniversary? So I decided to check the film out, and to my surprise, the movie was actually pretty good. You would expect a movie about Adam Sandler playing a classroom lizard would be like his other films, and being crude and trying way too hard to be funny. However, the movie surprises you by exceeding the audience's expectation, and being a movie that has a lot of emotion and heart into it. So with that being said, let's take a look at the plot. The main plot of the movie will focus on the title character Leo. He's been a class pet for as long as he can remember, along with his friend Squirtle, who is played by Bill Burr. One day during a conference meeting, he overheard one of the parents comment about his age. This causes Leo to question his life, as for most of it he's been contained in a glass box and hasn't gotten to experience life on the outside, or even leave a legacy for himself. Speaking from a personal point, I think this is something myself, as well as many others, can relate to. When we do eventually pass on, we want to be remembered for being a good person and having made an impact on others. So Leo's fear of not having an impact in his life is relatable, at least to me. Anyway, the main teacher would go on medical leave, and this would cause the sub, Miss Malkin, to come in. Unlike other teachers, she is old school as she hands the kids books and tries to instill discipline on them. And by doing so, she forces the students to take care of one of the pets for the weekend. One of the girls decides to take Leo, and he sees it as an opportunity to try and escape. However, Leo will fail at this and will reveal that he can talk. He calms the situation down by saying he can only talk to her, and that if she tells anyone they might be dissected. He will even give the girl some advice since he has decades of seeing kids growing up, as she has a problem of constantly talking, which bored everyone around her. Leo tells her that if she wants people to listen to her, then she needs to slow down and ask other people questions so she can know what they think. This advice works really well for her, and over time more and more kids will start to take Leo home, as he will continue to give them advice, and he soon realizes that he enjoys it. Some of the advice that Leo gives is actually pretty good. For example, there's one girl who's pretty snobby that no one likes, and Leo pretty much tells her that her life isn't that great, as her dad works a job popping zits, and because of her attitude, she has isolated herself from the other students. The girl will then decide to be kinder to her classmates, and will become less lonely because of it. Another example is when a boy feels lonely since his parents are always overprotective of him, and he's often accompanied by a drone that pretty much isolates him from the other kids. Leo tells him that he should tell his complaints, but be thoughtful about how he approaches it, which results in the boy actually getting to experience new things. My favorite moment though is when Leo helps one girl whose parents are going through a divorce. The girl will talk about how lonely she is with her parents constantly fighting. She then says that the only person that will listen to her is her grandfather. However, he sadly passed away. The girl will begin crying, and Leo tells her that crying won't solve her situation, and that she has to be strong for their family, as well as her little brother. She will then start talking about science, which is something that she's passionate about. Leo will then start listening to her, as sometimes the best solution to a problem is listening to another person lay out their emotions, and being there to comfort them, which I think is a really mature lesson to teach, even in most movies. Anyway, Leo will eventually become a popular pet in the classroom, and the kids will start to perform better in school as well, despite the teacher being extremely strict. However, Squirtle will get jealous of Leo, as he feels ignored by him and the kids. Squirtle decides to go with Leo and try to give the kid advice. However, unlike Leo, who treats the kids with respect and kindness, Squirtle mostly views the kids as brats, so his advice doesn't really work that well. Despite helping the kids with their problems, Leo does make the mistake of telling each individual kid that he can only talk to them. With Squirtle being jealous, he decides to take a video of Leo texting the other kids, which makes them upset as Leo broke their trust. Miss Malcolm will overhear this and decides to take Leo home with her. She will then get mad at him as she feels like she's done a bad job, and all she ever wanted to do in life was become a teacher, and feels upset that she is only a substitute. We then find out that when Malcolm was younger, she used to be happy, but became bitter over the years. Leo tells her that all of his dreams didn't come true either, and that Malcolm can be happy too if she forms a relationship with the kids. Malcolm tries to be more happy as the kids are having a presentation to try to win a field trip. However, during the presentation, she She sees how much Leo really helped the kids grow as people, and becomes jealous of him. After the kids went the field trip, Malcolm would drive to the Everglades and drop off Leo. She would then lie to him and say that the kids lost and that they don't want anything to do with him anymore. This is a very powerful scene, as you can see the regret on Malcolm's face, but you can also sort of understand her motives as well, even if they are wrong. Anyway, as the kids prepare for their field trip, they aren't really that excited about it since they are sad about Leo being gone. Squirtle will then call the drone and try to confront Malcolm, as he senses something isn't right. When Squirtle finally confronts Malcolm, he accuses her of kidnapping Leo, since Leo would never abandon the kids, and demands to know what happened to him, as the kids start to put pressure on her. Malcolm will finally break and confess about what happened. Squirtle and the kids are concerned about Leo's well-being. However, Malcolm promises that she will get him back, while Squirtle goes on ahead to find him. We then see Leo trying to adjust to the Everglades, with not so great results. However, he does meet some friends and finds out that his species can live for over 100 years, so he still has time left. However, that time may be short as alligators start to approach him. Lucky for Leo, Malcolm and the kids would come by, but alligators would start to target the kids. However, Malcolm would protect the kids by fighting off the gators. The kids would then find what they think is Leo's body. However, it's just his molted skin, and they all have a nice reunion. The film will end with the kids graduating, and thanking Leo and Squirtle for everything they've done for them. Miss Malcolm will also finally get a full-time teaching job, and will request that Leo and Squirtle comes with her. However, they will get assigned to the Royal Kindergarten class, as the movie ends. Like I stated earlier, I'm surprised at how good the film turned out to be, considering that it was a Netflix film that was made by Adam Sandler, who, let's just say, doesn't really have the best track record when it comes to movies. The thing I like most about this movie is the theme of change, as not only do the kids go through change as they learn from Leo's advice, but the three main characters also change as well. Leo will go from a character that is sort of depressed and tired of his life, to someone who will find renewed interest in life by teaching life lessons to kids. Squirtle will also grow, as he will go from a character that's sort of a jerk, to someone that is caring and supportive of Leo, as well as the people around him. However, I think Miss Malcolm has the best and most interesting character development in the film. Usually when we see the evil teacher trope, they usually don't explain why the teacher acts the way they do, besides they're just evil. But with Malcolm, we see that she was someone that used to be happy, but would become bitter over time due to her dream of becoming a teacher failing, and not really having any family to support her. And to be honest, I think that's something that's sort of relatable. When we grow up, we have dreams that sometimes never come true, and as a result, you slowly begin to feel content, as what you used to enjoy turns into something that brings you sadness, as you keep asking the question, what if? Malcolm, however, doesn't let that get to her, as she tries to make up for her mistake and steps up to protect the kids, proving that she does care for them, which I thought was an amazing moment. I also like how the movie doesn't try to be condescending and give her generic solutions to problems like in many kids shows, but instead the movie actually analyzes why the problems exist before talking about what the best solution is. Another element that I thought was done well is the comedy. Usually in Sandler's movies, he tries way too hard to be funny, and as a result, the jokes are usually not that funny and can turn off the audience. Here, however, the jokes are given more time to breathe, and as a result, hit the mark most of the time. Another thing that makes the movie funny is the facial expressions, as they are just so expressive that they can actually make the jokes even funnier. Speaking of which, I was surprised at how expressive the drone was in the movie, especially in the scene where they got depressed after the boy tells them he doesn't need them anymore. It is just hilarious, as well as impressive that they are able to get so much emotion out of the drone, and something I have to give the animation props for. I also liked how the kindergartners looked, as their design is so unique and chaotic that fits their character very well. Another thing I want to mention are the clocks. The rich girl's father, who is played by Jason Alexander, will start singing a song about how the girl will get extra time on her work. Then the clocks will suddenly appear, and you think that they are for visual effect for the song. However, it turns out that the clocks are actually real, and would demand money. Later on, they will actually steal the guy's wallet, and it's just so random and out of nowhere that these clocks are sentient beings, and it had me dying laughing when they stole his wallet. Speaking of music, this movie is also technically a musical, and to be honest, the songs here are okay. Like, they're not horrible or anything, and I actually did like Jason Alexander's song, since he's a surprisingly good singer, and it really fit the theme of the father being extremely arrogant. However, most of the other songs just explain the lessons Leo is trying to teach, and I think they are sort of unnecessary, and the movie would have been fine without them. Another small complaint that I have is that Leo's voice can be hard to get used to.
I'm zipping, and then I really live. Maybe climb a tree, swim in the sewer, see the Everglades.
While it's not as bad as Whitey's voice from 8 Crazy Nights,
I'll be over to feed the cats in the morning, Mrs. Addison.
it is still sort of annoying to hear, but I think Leo's character makes up for it. Now that I've analyzed the movie, I think it's appropriate to ask one final question. Why is the movie as good as it is, and what made Adam Sandler want to make it? Well, I don't have an exact answer, since I don't know Sandler personally, but if I had to guess, I would think it would have something to do with Sandler wanting to make a film about his experiences as a father, as his daughters are about to go to college. I think he does a fantastic job at conveying the theme of growing up, since not only do the kids and characters grow up, but the parents also learn from their mistakes as well, since a lot of the kids' insecurities come from the way they parent them. The movie does a great job at showing kids and parents how to adjust to change and growing up, and I would totally recommend the movie to someone that is coming of age, or someone who just loves animation in general. Anyway, that's all I have to say for now, so until next time, Koopa out.